Donald Trump's ideas aren't just different, they are dangerously incoherent. They're not even really ideas, just a series of bizarre rants, personal feuds, and outright lies. He is not just unprepared, he is temperamentally unfit to hold an office that requires knowledge, stability, and immense responsibility. This is not someone who should ever have the nuclear codes, because it's not hard to imagine Donald Trump leading us into a war just because somebody got under his very thin skin.
And with that, we welcome you to the Wednesday edition of Hardline. I'm John Bachman, in for Ed Berliner again tonight. Hillary Clinton taking dead aim at Donald Trump there, saying the Trump doctrine would be a historic mistake if we elected him. This after Trump made his own preemptive strike on Clinton and the PGA Tour and its new foreign policy.
Hillary is not a talented person. In fact, she's a person with absolutely no natural talent. All you have to do is watch her speak. And you ever notice, even for a minor speech, she has teleprompters. Do I have teleprompters here? They moved the PGA Tour, moved the World Golf Championships from Miami, where they're furious, to Mexico City. Not good, but that's okay. Folks, it's all going to be settled. You vote for Donald Trump as president. If I become your president, this stuff is all going to stop.
Well, there's lots to discuss today. Can Trump put California in play for the GOP? How will Trump University and that civil lawsuit affect the campaign? We'll talk about all that. But first, we begin with the former Secretary of State and her attack on Donald Trump. We also want to hear from you, of course, our viewers. Call us and give us your take. Your opinion counts here. Call us at 1-877-Newsmax. That's 1-877-639, 7629. 639-7629. Our first guest to join the discussion tonight, political commentator Michael Reagan, author of Lessons My Father Taught Me. Michael, it's great to talk to you again.
Yeah, good to be with you. Thank you.
You know, it's funny, Michael, I was just rewatching our conversation, the interview we did out in California right before the debate at the Reagan Library. We were talking about Donald Trump and your comments. A lot has changed, obviously, since then. But what did you think about some of the comments that Hillary Clinton threw out towards Donald Trump today?
You know, it's really interesting because I go out and speak about this. In fact, in my book, I even talk about it in the 80 campaign rhetoric, if you will. These are the same things they said about my father in 1980. He was a cowboy. He was going to start World War III. You can't trust him with the nuclear codes. He's going to turn Iran or Iraq into a parking lot. Iran, I should say. He's going to turn it into a glass factory. I mean, these are the things that the left keeps on bringing out time and time and time and time and time again to try and detract from their lack of real purpose, their lack of foreign policy. I mean, you look at Donald Trump, you may be upset with his words, but I am more than upset with what Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama have done to the foreign policy of the United States of America and the lack of respect America now has around the globe. I just got back from Japan, and look what's going on with China taking over more land. Look at what's going on with Russia as they expand. You know, my father said in his final address to the nation from the Oval Office, one of the greatest things he was proud of, that during his tenure as president, the Soviet Union did not expand 1 inch anywhere in the world. Well, Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama can't say that.
Well, when you were in Japan, Michael, what did they say about Trump? Because she also hit him today, and she hit him yesterday as well, for claiming that he wants to expand nuclear weapons for the things that he said in the past. Did anybody in Japan talk to you about that?
No, nobody really talked about those issues. I mean,
do they think it's just campaign rhetoric? They're not really paying attention?
This is campaign rhetoric. When was she in Japan?
Right.
I mean, let's go back and look at the travel logs. When was she in Japan? I was in Japan March 15th.
Oh, well, if she had been there, she would certainly tell us. They love to talk about how many countries she'd been, how much she's traveled. Going back to the foreign policy issue, though.
Look at the countries she's traveled to and look at the turmoil in those countries where she served as Secretary of State.
Sure. Libya, we could go on and on. I want to talk about this poll, though. New numbers coming from NBC News and the Wall Street Journal when it comes to foreign policy, comparing Clinton and Trump. This poll shows that Clinton has nearly a 30-point advantage over Trump when registered voters were asked which candidate would be better at handling foreign policy. You see the numbers right here on the screen. Do you expect this to change when we actually have these two folks nominated to be their respective parties' nominee for president?
It always changes. It changes up to the last week, last few days of the election process. Listen, I played golf with a kid a couple of years ago, 28 years old, and I told him I was headed to France to raise the flag at the American cemetery, the National Cemetery there. And he looked at me and said, huh, why is there a national cemetery at Normandy? He had no concept, no idea. I ran into another kid in Berlin a few years ago, said, what do you know about the Berlin Wall? Well, the Americans put it up to keep the communists out of their sector. I mean, who are they asking questions of? And are they paying attention to what's really going on? The problem is only the people like yourself in the media and others of that same genre, if you will, are covering what's going on. ABC, NBC, and CBS certainly don't cover the turmoil in these parts of the world and don't affix blame, as it should be affixed, to the Obama administration and Hillary Clinton. I mean, today's speech on foreign policy was a speech against Donald Trump. She hardly spent any minutes on foreign policy. She only spent it on Donald Trump.
Exactly. It was an attack on Donald Trump, but we know why she did it. She's trying to deflect attention away from the race in California, number one, and also the ongoing email situation. But let's talk about California as well, because we got the situation now. The polls are tightening there. Clinton could lose to Bernie Sanders when it comes to the popular vote, but I don't think it'll make much of a difference in the grand scheme of things, because she could still probably get enough delegates to go ahead and clinch the nomination. What do you see, though, in the way things, the final numbers, the way it's going to turn out for Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders?
I mean, she'll get enough delegates, by next Tuesday to win the nomination of the party if the super delegates stay home. And that's, of course, what Bernie Sanders is, in fact, counting on, to get those super delegates to move over. I want to run against Hillary Rodham Clinton. I don't want to run against Bernie Sanders or anybody else. Hillary Clinton is very beatable, as Bernie Sanders is proving out in many states as he's won in the primaries, when it was a foregone conclusion that Hillary Rodham Clinton was going to get the nomination.
Yeah, I know, Hillary Clinton will be joined by Bill Clinton out on the campaign trail for the 5 days running up to the primary next week in California. Do you expect to see Bill Clinton playing the same type of role that he played in 2012 for Barack Obama? Because what we've seen so far from Bill Clinton is not even close to what we saw from him when he was advocating for Barack Obama in 2012.
This is the guy, you put him in a closet, lock the closet door, don't let him out. They're letting him out too often, and when he gets out, he says things that just come back and bite the whole campaign, if you will. He is not the Bill Clinton of the 1990s, or the Bill Clinton that gave a speech at the last Democrat convention. This is a different Bill Clinton, if you will, at this point in time. So I don't think he's that much help at all, because, again, a lot of the people who vote, who's Bill Clinton? Who's Ronald Reagan?
Right.
All they know is Barack Obama, maybe George W. Bush. That's it. They don't know anybody else beyond that. So trotting out Bill Clinton is not going to be a help so much to the electorate here in California. There's 34 people signed up to run for the Senate of the United States in California in the primary.
Unbelievable.
34.
Unbelievable. I'd love to meet some of those folks, because I'm sure there's some characters in that bunch. Donald Trump, though, yesterday, Michael, made a bold prediction in Sacramento about the way the California general election race is going to turn out. Let's take a listen to what Trump had to say.
Because I'm going to make a real run in California, okay? Believe me. And only because we're running against Hillary, she's got to be weak.
All right, so Donald Trump says he's going to make a real run for California, but as you know better than most, the demographics in California have changed a great deal since the last time a Republican won that state in a general election in 1998. You can see the differential here changing from 1996 to 2000, 2004, 2008. The percentage of Democrats much bigger in California than it has been in the past, or significantly different, I should say. Significantly different.
There's no real Republican party here. I mean, we have nobody to run for governor of the state of California on the Republican side of the ticket. I mean, that's embarrassing, to say the least, about the Republican Party. But it's going to be tough to, in fact, win the state of California, for the Republicans to win the state of California, because basically he's going to have to do it on his own, because the RNC gave up on California a long, long, long time ago. That's why we have the problems we have in the state. They gave up on the state. They don't put any money in here to help elect Republicans to anything in this state at all. So he's going to have to do it all on his own if he plans to make California a state that'll turn red in his favor in November.
Do you think he really believes he can compete in California, or do you think he's just holding all these events out there, perhaps because he benefits from the strong reaction he gets from the protesters? That seemed to have helped him in the past, and at least in the poll numbers, and also because he can make this that much more difficult for Hillary Clinton by bashing her, not bashing Bernie Sanders. But this is getting covered all over the place throughout the state in California on the news. So when he bashes Hillary Clinton, it makes it harder for her to clinch the deal in California.
I mean, have you noticed at all today? Nobody's talked at all about Trump U. Nobody's talked about it at all.
Right. We're going to talk about it coming up, but you're absolutely right. I made that same observation just a few moments ago, right before we came on the air. Nobody is talking about it.
No, it's off the front pages. And Hillary did that. It's like Hillary's helping Donald Trump by doing what she did today. Took Trump off the front pages with Trump U, and then of course Trump answers everything people say about him. So now it's a tit for tat going on. No Trump U in it, and it'll be a battle. It's going to be a battle all the way to November. We all know it. It always is a battle.
It's going to be a battle. It's going to be ugly. We're going to get to some calls in a second, but one last question before we head to the commercial break. Paul Ryan today says he is going to vote for Donald Trump, ending a lot of concern, I guess, perhaps. We knew he was going to do it anyway, but he says on Twitter, and also wrote a op-ed piece today, quote, "I'll be voting for real Donald Trump this fall. I'm confident he will help turn the House GOP's agenda into laws." Do you believe Ryan when he writes this, or do you think he's just hoping to be optimistic here?
Well, I think both. I believe it. He also said he's going to try and see if he can get Donald to change his tone. I just tweeted Newsmax's story on that and said, yeah, no kidding, you want to help change his tone in all of this, because that could end up, it may be great during the primary season, maybe great convention, but I don't know if it'll be that great coming November, because people want to see someone who's also going to be presidential.
Yeah, Hillary Clinton, of course, today hitting Donald Trump for his lack of discipline. But some members of his own party, even those who have supported him or are supporting him now, have said the same thing. Mr. Trump, it's time to be a little bit more disciplined when it comes to those podium speeches. But the crowd eats it up. It'd be hard to not give the crowd what they want. But we're going to talk more about all of this when we come back. Michael Reagan's going to stick around, and also we're going to get to your calls. Again, if you would like to join our conversation, you can reach us at 1-877-NEWSMAX, 1-877-639-7629. We're coming right back after this. John Bachman in for Ed Berliner on the Hardline today. Stick around.